Please turn to page 243 for the independent work chapter. Independent work is critical in any reading program. When you are meeting with students in small groups, then what are the other students doing? That's one concern that teachers have. This program provides meaningful work as well as practice that directly aligns to what you just taught students in their reading group. Another challenge when you're working in small groups is management. When you have those meaningful activities where students are practicing what you taught, you also need to make sure that those activities engage your students. So we're looking at engagement as well. In this independent work chapter, you will see you have 3 different types of independent work. That will be meaningful, provide necessary practice, as well as engage your students. And as you can see in this picture, this displays those 3 types of activities. Videos. Notice these 3 characters. You will constantly see them. This is Ella, she's a princess, Ollie, a giraffe, and this is Chase, the monkey. They will be in videos in which your students will watch, and they're usually about 10 to 12 minutes long, and be engaged to practice what they just learned in their reading group. Also, students will be reading from their portfolios. I love the portfolios because all the work that you will be doing with students is in their portfolios. When they come to the group, they will be using their portfolio. It's right there in one booklet. When they go to work independently, they will take their portfolio with them. Again, this is such a great way for kids to stay engaged, but it also helps with that classroom management. It's in one booklet. And notice the final picture shows that students will write. And where are all those pages where they will write? In their portfolio. Additionally, they will have their reading books, the books that are aligned to the portfolios that they're working in. So not only will they be working in their portfolios, but they will be practicing the familiar books, which is our goal for students to read books in their independent work. On page 244 is the puppet to introduce the objective of independent work to your students. On the front side is displayed I Master It with the 3 different types of independent work. When you're working with students, you want to tell the students, good readers always practice what they learn in their reading groups. That's why they say, I master it. That's the goal of practice. Look at all the different ways you're going to practice what you've learned when you're meeting with me. You're going to go to videos, you're going to work in your portfolios by reading and writing in them. Next, what you'll do is, on the reverse side of the puppet, say the chant to the students. And that is, I do all the work. I do all the work. I practice, practice, practice. I do all the work. That's right, boys and girls. When you are working independently, you are doing all the work. Why? So you can write those words, read those words so quickly that you don't even think about it. It's easy. That's why we practice. Good readers practice, practice, practice. Blackline masters for this puppet are on pages 248 and 249. Let's go to page 245 for directions for students to read their portfolios and decodable books independently. First of all, let's start with the middle picture here. What you will see is this is a student working in the small groups. So in the small groups on this day, they were working on 2-letter blends. Notice they were going through reading the 2-letter blends. Then when the group was over, they went and independently practiced the page that they were working on in their small group. As well as, look at the top picture here, these are their decodable books, familiar books that they had been working on in their previous reading groups. They will also go through these decodable books and practice reading them independently as well. So whatever you have worked on in your reading groups, your students then can go practice those pages independently as well as reread familiar books that they have read in their reading groups. On page 246, you will see writing in the portfolio. This is the same process you will go through just like the reading. Students were writing, in this case, a sight word, can, in their reading groups. So they were working on that sight word, but they were writing it in their reading groups. And this activity is a follow-up independent work activity where they will go back to their seat and write can on their own. On this page, they have at the top the chant that they learned to remember the word can, and then each line will be either a trace the word or the next line write the word on your own. This activity again is done independently. I do want to caution, if it's the beginning of the school year and students are just starting to work on these writing in the portfolio pages, I suggest that you have your students write the first couple of lines with you in the small group so that they show you that they can independently trace and write these words, then send them off to complete the page on their own. There are also letter pages where students will be tracing and writing their letters that they've been learning as well. So far, all the activities that we've covered have been from the portfolio or from the Decodable books. On page 247 is my favorite independent activity. And these are my free online independent centers for emergent reading. A master teacher, Michelle Myers, and I created these videos. Please notice these videos can be watched where one child watches them, or you could have a large group watching them on small screen or large screen. In these videos, students practice the skills that they learned in their reading groups by watching and interacting with 3 of the characters I previously mentioned. First, there's Chase the monkey. Chase is a funny, silly character. Then there's Ollie the giraffe, who is always worried and tentative about anything that he does. And there's Ella the fairy. And Ella is almost like the teacher. She's the mom who is constantly trying to help them stay focused and practice their letters, practice their sight words, and blending. These activities are cute, fun, and engaging for the kids, but also they are totally aligned with what the students are doing in their reading group. For example, let's say I was working with a group of students and they are on the orange level. They bring their orange level reading portfolio to the group. And today they were working on the letter T. I was introducing that to them. They practiced in the small group with me the letter T, and they also worked on their T page in their portfolio where they were reading this letter, maybe even tracing and writing it as well. After working with me on that skill in their reading group, they then went back to watch that video that focused on the letter T. Here's one of the slides on that video where Ella is having the children review that T page. Notice the kids are engaged. They will also be interacting, talking back and forth as if the video is speaking to them. It's a fabulous way for your students to practice what they learned with you, and it also is a way for your students to stay engaged while you're meeting with the next reading group. And remember, all these videos are free. Just go to my website so that you can have your children watch videos totally aligned to what they are doing in their reading groups.